working with elephants, method acting, and making the huge leap from Disney princess to horror movie darling. Jenna Ortega's evolution is truly something to behold. Jenna Ortega has undergone a remarkable transformation since she first started acting at the age of 9. Initially, she was only allowed to audition for TV commercials, but when she turned her attention to the small screen, she quickly booked small roles on Rob and CSI New York. Her first breakout role was alongside Greg Kinnear and Miranda Otto on Rake. After that, the roles kept pouring in, and she secured the lead role on Know It All Nina.
I know everything!
Ortega's next big break happened when she was cast as young Jane on Jane the Virgin, playing a young version of Gina Rodriguez. In a Pod Crush segment, Ortega recalled messing up one of the lines in her audition and leaving thinking she wasn't going to land the role. However, since the young star looked so much like Rodriguez, it made sense that she booked the role. With such a high-profile gig came the added pressure to always prove herself. While she was carving out an enviable career in Hollywood, Ortega grew to miss going to school, telling Pod Crushed, "The majority of being an actor is waiting. So it was always those long dressing room moments where I'm kicking rocks for 4 hours."
Oh man, I missed frog dissection today, and that's just gonna crush me.
Jenna Ortega first starred as a princess in the 2014 episode of OMG, a YouTube video series. You could consider this early gig as a screen test, as it sets the foundation for what would become one of her early defining roles. Elena of Avalor was first announced in early 2015, with plans for a debut in Sophia the First before its spin-off series arrived a year later. Importantly, the show marked Disney's first ever Latina princess. Ortega's Princess Isabel was first revealed in May 2016. In an interview with Celeb Secrets TV, Ortega described the importance of the character, saying, "When I was growing up, I didn't have a Disney princess that I could relate to, and I couldn't see myself as a Disney princess. So, now that young girls have someone they can look up to is something I'm very proud of." Elena of Avalor ran for 3 seasons, and Ortega also starred in 2 TV specials, 2017's Elena of Avalor, Adventures in Valestrea, and 2019's Elena of Avalor, Discovering the Magic Within. In 2016, Ortega scored the lead role in Disney Channel's Stuck in the Middle, Harley Diaz, the middle child of 7. Ortega was able to draw from her personal life for the role, as she's the 4th of 6 children in her family. Heading into the series finale in 2018, Ortega discussed the moment when she first heard that she'd booked the role. During a phone call with her agents, they'd asked how she'd feel attending school on the set of a Disney show. Describing her reaction to the news, Ortega told The Hollywood Reporter, "I dropped the phone and cried really hard. It was an ugly cry."
Not gonna lie, I feel bad.
In the show's first episode, fans noticed that Ortega makes a very peculiar reference. In a clip from the show shared in a viral tweet, Ortega's character says,
This is what happens when there are 7 kids and you're stuck in the middle. If my family was a week, I'd be Wednesday.
The clip is exceedingly eerie, considering Ortega's eventual explosion as the lead character in Netflix's Wednesday. It also goes without saying that Ortega's career leveled up thanks to her role on Stuck in the Middle, and she never looked back. As far as dramatic performances are concerned, Ortega's turn in Saving Flora is one of her strongest. In September 2017, she took to Facebook to reveal that filming had wrapped on the movie, writing, "I had the most incredible time working with everyone and can't wait for you all to see." In the film, Ortega stars as Dawn, a girl who undertakes an heroic effort to save an aging elephant named Flora by traveling 100 miles to an animal reserve. In an interview with Twin Cities Film Fest, writer and director Mark Taylor revealed, "Ortega not only helped us define Dawn's character, but also define some of the tone of the film. Jenna's Latino heritage inspired our choices for casting the other characters also. It made us shake things up a bit and create a world that was a bit more representative of America. It's not always easy to transition from kids' shows to more serious fare, and Jenna Ortega certainly felt the pressure." Speaking to Nylon, the former Disney Channel star explained, "There's a stigma that that's all you could do, or you're just not a serious actor. There were multiple times where I was seriously considering quitting and stopping. I was too old for the young roles and too young for the older roles. It was really frustrating. You finally have to get that one job that moves the meter." Ortega's first horror role came with a very minor appearance in 2013's Insidious Chapter 2. She followed it up with a part in the 2nd season of Netflix's You. She played Ellie, serial killer Joe Goldberg's neighbor. Discussing the role, the young actor told Pop Sugar, "I felt like Ellie on You was a good role to really be seen in a different light and change people's perspective of me, rather than just being this Disney princess. Plus, I am so in love with the writing. So it's super exciting for me to even be a part of something like that." Taking on such a different role came with its own challenges. As Ortega told Pop Sugar, I remember when we did the first table read for the first script, I was so nervous. But after I did some reads with Penn Badgley, he looked at me and was like, "You know what? I am so charmed by you." I could just feel my body relax at last, and I was like, all right, it is going to be cool.
Oh my God, you're so kind, you're so protective, you're like my daddy.
In 2020, Ortega began her turn as Brooklyn in the animated Netflix series Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. She also co-starred in The Babysitter Killer Queen, alongside Samara Weaving and Bella Thorne. Speaking to CBR.com, director McG opined, "You look at Jenna Ortega and she's going to be the biggest star in the whole world." Ortega took the world by storm when she officially joined the Scream franchise. In 2022's Scream, Ortega plays Tara, lead character Sam's younger sister, and an aficionado of elevated horror. Of her first day of filming, Ortega told LRM Online, "I've never played this kind of role in a film that's been released theatrically, so that was kind of nerve-wracking too, because I knew that there was a big budget involved and big people involved, and I just didn't want to get fired." In Ty West's X, Ortega portrays the mousy Lorraine, who helps her boyfriend RJ on the set of his new adult film. Speaking to Complex, the actor revealed, "It's one of my favorite filming experiences, I would say. We were shooting in New Zealand, which I've never been to before. It's got to be one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been to, and I would live there if I could." In 2022, Ortega also starred in American Carnage and the Dave Grohl-produced Studio 666. Ortega reached dizzying heights with her role as Wednesday Addams in Netflix's Wednesday. While it was the character's iconic dance that went viral on TikTok, Ortega's portrayal is so much more than that. As part of her preparation for the role, Ortega took cello and fencing lessons twice a week and walked around the set while staying in character. Discussing her approach to playing the goth icon, Ortega told Complex, "You don't want to be ripping off anybody else's performance, but honestly, the 90s films made such an impact on the character Wednesday, the one that we know and love today. So I think that there was a part of my performance that I had to loop in bits and pieces that were reminiscent of the 90s version." Following her audition, Ortega quickly found out she'd booked the role and flew out to Romania to film for 6 months. While Wednesday is a huge departure from Ortega's earliest roles, the actor actually has a lot in common with the Addams Family icon. In many ways, she's basically portraying herself on screen. As the star told Netflix to Doom, "People never know whether or not I'm being serious. My sense of humor is a bit awkward at times, and maybe a bit too dark." If there's any role that now defines Jenna Ortega, it's most certainly her dark, twisted version of Wednesday Addams. With Season 2 already ordered by Netflix, Ortega definitely isn't going anywhere. 2023 is set to be a huge year for Ortega. For starters, she's reprising her role as Tara in Scream 6. Set in the heart of New York City, the film raises the stakes yet again, promising to be even more violent than any other entry in the franchise so far. Discussing her role in the series, Ortega told Deadline, "In Scream 5, I was only ever crying and screaming on the floor, so on this second one, I had to interact with my other castmates and give Tara some sort of a personality."
We execute him.
In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Ortega also noted, "At the top of Scream 6, we see my character Tara avoiding her trauma and desperately trying to reclaim her teenage experience and become a normal college student. There's a lot of tension between her and Sam. She feels as though she's too protective and unwilling to allow them both to move on. She feels suffocated." Aside from Scream, Ortega already has several new projects in development, suggesting that 2023 is going to be the best year yet for her skyrocketing career.